Hola, people. How are you today? Okay, so I am not going to do grief journaling today. I'm going to talk a little bit about grief and the grief process, but honestly, I'm kind of griefed out. So today is just a make a bunch of stuff day, and I decided to do envelopes. Do you like my birds? Aren't they beautiful? Okay, so I found this. I wanted a pad or something for my desktop to help me keep in frame, because I noticed that some of my videos are a little too low or a little too high or a little too far to the side. So these are my guidelines. No higher than the bird's head and stay on this line here. And then I know it, and don't go past the here, and I'll be in frame. But this was some gorgeous wallpaper from the 1920s that a company donated to my art program when I used to teach art at Juvenile Hall. Basically, what I'm going to do, since it is junk journals, we're going to do envelopes. And I know everybody's done envelopes for there's people that follow me and are learning about junk journaling that don't know anything about junk journaling, actually what it is. So you just save a bunch of junk mail, brochures, papers, ticket stubs, anything you go on vacation, any paper you get that you go on vacation. I always keep a little bag and I stuff it all in there. And then when you come back, you make a journal with all the junk. And that's why they're called junk journals. So one thing that people use a lot in junk journals are envelopes. You use them to tuck things behind, you use them to tuck things inside, you use them as a page. There's all different kinds of ways to do it. And window envelopes are very popular. I've watched a bunch of videos and tutorials on different ways to do window envelopes, and I've kind of come up with a few of my own ways that I'm going to share with you today. So let's get started. I have literally 3 big laundry baskets. The big, holds 3 loads of laundry basket, the tall wire ones, full of paper, wallpaper, special paper from, the paper outlet, and beautiful gift wrap. So I'm trying to utilize some of that stuff and put it together for my journals. So this is going to go in one of my boho journals that I'm kind of just starting to make stuff throw inside. So the first thing you're going to do is get an envelope. Now, I like the envelopes that come in the junk mail that have these really cool windows. There's all different ways that you can utilize these. This one I'm gonna actually leave the window the way it is. So what I did to pre-prep was I took a long piece of paper, I stuck it inside, okay? And then I used, of course, now where's the tool? Okay. I have this tool. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know what it is. It's a blade on one end and it's like a scoopy thing. I think it's actually for clay, honestly. But I have a stylus somewhere. I don't know where it is. Can't find it. So this is the next best thing. Back in my scrapbooking days when I used to paper piece, I used to use a stylus to trace what I wanted to cut out because I didn't want to have lines on anything and I didn't want to erase stuff. So what I did was I took the paper, so pretend this is a bigger piece of paper, put it inside, and then I used this to just carefully press down. I'm pressing the tip down on the back smooth side of this blade, okay? Going around like this to trace the whole thing out. Then when you pull that piece of paper out, you're gonna have an indentation from the window. Now when you cut it out, you wanna cut it, let me make sure I have this right. So you wanna cut it slightly smaller on the inside of the line, not the outside of the line. You wanna cut on the inside of the line so that your piece for your window is actually smaller than the actual window. This is gonna be your template. When you put it on your cardstock, trace around to cut it out, and then your window is gonna be underneath, but since your hole is smaller than the actual window is, it's gonna fit without any of this white showing through, okay? That's my plan. And then there's also this little piece here, which you can cut a piece of an image or a cardstock or some of your wallpaper if you want, and stick it behind the window so that when you pull the tag or whatever's in there out, there's not just this paper showing, okay? Now this window I'm going to take and I'm going to flip up. So there'll be something in the window tucked up, but then there's a little pocket here that I can stick little tags or whatever I want in there. This needs to go, let me try to flatten this out, hold on. The edge of your table works good in a pinch too, is kind of flatten stuff out. Roll it backwards, reverse of the curl of the paper. There, that's a little better. Okay, so now I know that this window has to fit between these two lines. The top edge of it has to be below these lines and above these lines, right? In order for it to be centered on the window where it's at now. All right, so we're just gonna trace this template. And you should try to do it nicely. I've scribbled it up a little bit, but you want to try to do a really nice job because this is going to actually show. So you can just kind of, you can do whatever you want. I mean, some people would save this piece of paper and use that little piece to make a tag or something. Just for illustration purposes, I'm going to do it this way just because it's a little bit easier and a little bit faster. You want to cover a little bit of this. You want this to hang over on here a little bit so it'll cover all this white. Let's see, did I do it right with all my measuring? Because I'm not a measuring girl. Haha, look at that. Okay, so now, normally I would glue up the envelope, but in this case, I'm going to glue the paper first. All right. All that is down. Now, because I'm going to have this flap, right, that's coming up, we're going to bend it up there too. Now, you could trim that part away, but this paper's so thin, it's not going to make a difference. This part I want to trim away because I'm going to tuck it down inside. So I've cut the end of the envelope. So I'm going to take this little piece. You also want to kind of cut that little part that's going to tuck in. You want to cut it so it'll tuck easier. And you want to make sure, if it's a situation like this, come on, get off my finger. Where this is longer than the window, you want to trim it down a little bit. Because once you fold that under, it's going to cover your window from the other side and you're going to see this ugly glue paper. Look at that. All right. Now I usually use a credit card. I didn't do right away with this one. When you're smoothing your paper down, you might want to do this right away because it will get on any lumps and bubbles. And even if your paper is wrinkly, Karen, you're an idiot. Okay, so here's why you do need to trim that paper, because look, I stuck it down, but I want to fold it back up, and that's going to show. So, okay, back to the drawing board here. Open that one up. Here's a cool thing, if you mess it up, it doesn't matter, it's just junk, right? You can go back to fix it. Now I just need it to come, actually I wanted it a little higher than that, but this glue wipes off really well with baby wipes. So actually you could fold it the other way if you want to, because this flap is going to come up and it's not going to show. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up. Miter the corners a little. And I'm going to glue it this way. Okay, that's the proper way to do it. I don't know, I could edit this out, the mistake, but I think it's good if I make mistakes on camera so you can see how you can fix them, so you don't have to just go, oh no, and throw the whole thing away, because this is a perfectly good envelope and you don't want to throw it away just because you made one little mistake like that. Now look at that. So now you have, this also helps to reinforce the side of the pocket, make it a little stronger, so when you tuck things down inside of there, it looks better. Or it's not, looks better, it's a little stronger. Now, what do I want to put in there? Scrap over here. This is some vintage wallpaper that I have. The color's pretty close. This paper is so brittle, and I don't have a spray bottle with me, but you know what? It's so funny, and I learned this by happy accident, or what I like to call flopportunity, where something happens, it's a flop, and then it turns into something that is like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. My garage flooded one year when we lived in Southern California, and we were up here for Christmas with my family, and when we got home, everything was flooded out, and that was where I had stored all my wallpaper and my photos and my books, and it was 2 feet of water got in there. So all this wallpaper was soaked. And I'm like, okay, I am not letting this wallpaper, I'm not throwing it in the bin. My husband's like, just throw it all the way. No. So I took all these rolls, there was probably 70 rolls of wallpaper, unrolled them all, and rolled them all over my house. But the thing I learned was, because it's wallpaper and it's made to get wet with wallpaper paste, when you get it wet, it has more pliability and it doesn't break. So that was a pretty cool opportunity lesson. So now I want to stick this down in here, but I just need to make sure it's going to fit. And look at that, it goes all the way down, but I don't need it to go all the way down. I just need it to cover that little window. Look at that, the color, I like the color. And I'll probably do some other things to this, but this is just a quick little, to show you one way to do a window. I'm going to show you 4 different kinds. So I can glue that down. You don't need to watch me glue it down, but I'll glue that down at another time. So there's number 1, done. So we got a little place to, this isn't obviously a tag, but you can use credit cards for tags, but stick a couple little tags in there. You'll still see whatever's in the window. I like that one. That's gonna go nice in my boho journal. So if I do it this way, my sheet music is gonna be sideways, and I wanna make sure that it's gonna be, no, I was right. That was the correct way. I'm going to use this edge here because this is a straighter edge. Because I don't need this little dip here. So I'm just going to make it come up here to the edge. Glue it down. And then the flap kind of, you can cut the tip of the flap off, it doesn't matter. So one thing that I'm learning in my grief process, I'm going to group therapy for grief with some other people who have lost loved ones, specifically lost loved ones to suicide. It's its own kind of thing, grieving a suicide. It's a whole unique set of circumstances and situation that are different from just losing a loved one to an illness or to an accident. So because when somebody chooses to end their life, there's a lot more stuff that goes on with the survivors as far as coping mechanisms and trying to understand, and guilt and blame involved, and other things that don't necessarily happen with an accident or an illness, death. So one thing that I'm learning, and I've been really impatient, really have high anxiety, and not having the bandwidth to handle a lot of things. So when, you know, somebody calls me, people don't bother me too much, but like when my kids have stuff going on, they don't even bother me because they know I just got too much on my plate. And when I am confronted with things, and it's stupid things, like my favorite spatula went missing. That's the one that I use to cook everything, and I can't find another one because I don't think they make them anymore. But it's my favorite one. Dang it. And it's missing, and I don't know where it went, and I can't find it anywhere. And of course, nobody knows what happened to it. So, you know, I just lost it over a stupid spatula. Or today I was looking for the orange juice thing and I couldn't find it, and I thought, okay, I bet somebody put it down with the Tupperware. Well, if your house is like my house, the Tupperware cabinet is the place that nobody wants to go, because every time you open the door, everything comes crashing out. I lost it. 2 shelves of Tupperware. I'm down there digging it out like a dog digging for a bone. I was so mad and throwing it everywhere. And realized, why am I so upset about this? Why am I so angry about this? This is ridiculous for me to get this upset over, over something. And then I realized it is a part of the grief process, because you keep, and I don't keep anything in. I cry about everything, and you guys have seen me here on my channel. I have no problem showing and sharing my emotions, but there's a thing that's called borrowed grief that I learned about, which is maybe you're driving along and you hear a song and all of a sudden you start crying because that song reminds you of your person or a situation. Or it could just be one line or a couple of words in the song make you think of them, even if the song isn't even about that. All of a sudden, everything that you do, everything you hear, everything you see becomes about that. And it is hard sometimes. So trying to have patience with myself and allow myself my little moments. Those fits are called grief bursts, which I didn't know anything about till my therapy. It's all based on a book that we're reading in the class and doing a journal or work book with the grief. But I'm learning a lot. And I'm learning that I need to be patient with myself. I'm learning that I need to take time for creativity and fun things. And I make myself do the important stuff like taxes. Yeah, we filed an extension because my husband was self-employed at the end of last year, the beginning of this year, doing Uber and DoorDash. And on top of his regular job. Then he got really paranoid about contracting COVID, so he stopped. But I don't have all the records for that, and every time I have to deal with it, it's overwhelming. So I forced myself to sit down and call my tax lady and say, okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? What? And she's like, Karen, just bring me the box. I will go through everything. I'll compile a list of questions. Anything that I think we might need, I will let you know, and we'll just get it figured out. Don't worry. Bless her heart. Let me tell you, Miss Cindy at H&R Block has been a lifesaver, because every time I call her, I have a meltdown. I say, I'm so sorry. Every time I call you, I have a meltdown. She's like, it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna get through this. So, thank goodness for sweet people who are willing to help. And yeah, obviously I'm paying her, but she's willing. She's going above and beyond what her job is to help me. She doesn't have to sort through all my tax records and make heads or tails of it. She's willing to do it for me because she's kind, and she liked my husband, and she likes me. So I'm very, very lucky. So you want to try to construct all this stuff while, okay, too much stuff on my desk, while the envelope is open. Because the more you do while it's open, the easier things are going to work for you. Okay, I'm a really tidy worker, and normally I clean between each thing, but I'm trying to do this quickly. But then I think, well, wait a minute. I could just stop the camera. I could, see there? I didn't go far enough. And now that I've stuck it down nice and hard with the credit card, I gotta move it over. But that's all right. It's gotta come up too. Okay, before I stick it down, let's check. Yes, okay. And sorry that I start talking about one thing and then in mid speech I go off and talk about something else. That is also apparently another symptom of grief. The feeling, no, you're not crazy. You're just grieving. But you have a thought that you think of one thing, and then boom, your thought jumps to something else, and then something else. And I've always kind of been like that, a little scatterbrain, but it's gotten a lot worse. So I'll just roll with it and not get too upset about it. So eventually I will come back around to what I'm trying to do or say. But one thing, let me just check. Oh, good. It is recording. I just want to make sure that I wasn't on photo, that I was actually recording, because the other day I thought I was recording and I wasn't. All right. So that's it. So there's that one. Now, I can leave this window the way it is, but, so now say you destroyed your window trying to cut it out and you wrecked it. Well, take a piece of plastic packaging. You know, all this packaging that all your stickers and all your stuff comes in like this. Yeah, use that. Just cut a little piece. My neighbor's dog, every night he puts his dog out and the dog sits there at the back door and barks the entire time till the guy comes and lets him back in. I'm like, dude, why? What do you even make him go out for? He don't like it. I guess maybe he's in that house all day, so the guy wants him to stay out for a little while or something, but I don't know, because the dog is not happy. He's there, bark, 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 until the guy lets him in. It's so funny. Most times I don't mind. It's when it's like 11:30 at night. Usually I'm not sleeping, so I don't care, but sometimes. kind of a little bit late to be letting your dog sit outside and bark. But like I said, that's honestly doesn't really bother me. Now, this is what I was talking about the other day when I was doing another thing. You want to make sure that you don't get so close to the edge of the window that your glue gloops out. But if it does, you just wipe it off. So there we go. There's another one done. Now I can, you know, fold this one up and make a little flap out of it if I want to, or I can leave it whole like this. Again, I can cover this whole side and make another page out of it. There's lots of different things you can do with these envelopes, and I'll do another video that show you different things to do with envelopes once you've made them. But I just want to show you some basic, you know, construction skills with the windows to see. So this one is another one that I'm gonna do with the wallpaper. And I cut this window out and I cut it way too big. And then I kind of flipped out because I really like this envelope. I like the big window space, so you can put some cool things behind here to look at. But I've got this beautiful, another piece of beautiful old wallpaper that is, well, you saw me use it earlier in the window of the other one. It's just so pretty. And I'm doing a journal that's like all winter white and ice blue. And I think this is gonna go beautiful. Now there's a couple of little tears. So I wanna be careful. Because if the tears are on the back, I don't really care. Because this one I'm gonna kind of glue in another book, in the book anyway. But I like this blue. It's like, you know, the wintry blue, Elsa blue, you know. So I'm doing that and like crystally, iridescent white and crystally colors, fabrics and lace and stuff that I have from my, I don't even want to say stash because it's more than a stash, my hoard. I've been hoarding this stuff for years and years and years. So I literally have probably 20 of the big size, you know, like you put your Christmas ornaments in, your Christmas tree in, you know, the big buckets. I know I have 8 of those, and I probably have another 20 smaller size tubs full of fabric and lace and clothes to cut apart. And I had to do some purging. A lot of that is going to go because I have my little tiny, you know, 120 square feet that I'm living in right now. And my space is going to get bigger, but this is going to be, you know, go back to being my art studio when I'm not living in it anymore. And once the construction is done on my house, so I have to make everything that I have fit in this little space, but I am going to build a shed. So phone call came in, paused my phone. I denied the call and then kept on talking, totally finished filming and did not film. So here's the end result. I just took the envelope. I used this. This was actually a tablecloth that had tissue underneath it. And I really loved the look of it. So I'm going to take some really pretty trim and trim out the window. You know, glue this and make a beautiful pocket to tuck into my, you know, winter white and blue journal that I'm making. So just want to recap really quickly the different windows we did. So we did this one that you can, has a window here and a little tuck spot for some tags. This one here is one that can flap over, and you could take another envelope and tuck it like this behind that envelope so that it opens out. And I could cover this with something else and put something on the window. I don't know. Lots of different things you could do with that. And then this one with the cool vellum tag. I put the little puppy dog away somewhere. I don't know what she went. Anyway. And this again is another one that could just be another page in your journal. Or you could, I think this would be cool, glued down on a page. Or maybe tucked behind something. So I had cut that extra long flap and then I folded it wrong and glued it up. And while I was talking, didn't pay attention. But anyway, there we go. There's 4 different styles of envelopes with different types of windows that you can use. You can also utilize these. So you buy these old, 3-ring style binders. These make very cool pockets. So you can cut this one. Let's just do it now. So this one I would cut both sides off of. I'll leave the bottom on there, but I would cut the bottom too, and then I would sew it up and have a really cool clear envelope. But if you have multiples like this is what I usually do with them, and it comes out really cool. I cut to the outside of the seam on the middle one. You already have a pre-made pocket. Look at that. Already made. Gotta do nothing. It's just pre-done for you, and you could glue this up. You could sew it up. You could, glue it with some fabric tack and then put it some trim on the bottom, or some fringe, or some ball fringe, or something, cute. But how cute would that be in there? Totally clear little tag like that. So that's another thing, and you can also use it for a window. This makes a really great window. It's a little thicker. You could stamp on this. I'll probably try that on another one. Do some stamping on it, and then make an envelope with it after it's been stamped. It's another really cool thing. I like working with the clear materials, Mylar and stuff. All right. So that's it. Thanks for joining. Thanks for following along on the journey. And next time you see these, they're going to be decorated up and being stuck inside journals. So it takes a lot of stuff to put in a junk journal. It takes a lot of time to make all this stuff. There's little, little doodahs and little flips and flaps and different things that you want to put in there. So one night, when you don't really know what kind of journal page you want to make, but you want to do something, get out some junk mail, get out some gift wrap, some sheet music, some, old book pages, whatever you got laying around, and start covering up your envelopes and making all different kinds of little pockets and flips and flaps. Stack them all up, store them in a little box. I have those little photo boxes that they sell at Michael's, and I put them all in there, stacked up like this. And I even sort them by, like, all the window ones like this I put, all the longer ones like this I put, all the big ones I put together. So they're all kind of pre-sorted. And then I also sort by color, the earth tones together, the greens, the blues, the pinks. It just makes it easier when you're working, if you can just reach in and grab by what you need rather than having to search through everything. All right. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Have a great day.